Can CPR stop gun violence?
Can't wait, Pat.
I think the March for Our Lives.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Okay.
March for Our Lives.
I'm with them. Okay.
Okay, so Glenn, I know that you just did a chalkboard on the connections and all of that, but what part of that matters so much to you?
All of that, because the world is but a stage. All the world is but a stage, and we are the players, and that's what's happening. We're being played. We're being played by the media. We're being played by the left. I mean, that isn't even scratching the surface. That's the stuff that we can find from public record. You can't find the other stuff because they've hidden it behind a 501c4 instead of a C3. And I mean, this screams George Soros. And one of the most important things was before I got to the chalkboard, what Citigroup announced last week. And that is they will stop all financial services now to any gun manufacturer or any gun store that is selling guns to anyone under 21, has high-capacity magazines, and there's another big one, I can't remember what it is, and a bunch of other stuff. But, well, that would be pretty much every store because, you know, you're under 21, that's still legal.
Right.
And so here's Citigroup making this. You only really have three big banks. You have Chase Manhattan, Citigroup, and Bank of America. If people can't use their credit cards in those stores, if Cabela's can't do banking at one of those big three, you have really taken the Second Amendment apart without a single vote cast.
Yeah.
And what do we keep hearing? They're talking positively about the kids because they did all of this.
They didn't do any of it.
They did all of this, Glenn, all of it by themselves.
And you know what's amazing? Here we were, a group of adults that did the restoring projects, and we didn't do any of it. That had to be giant corporations or organizations that did that, because that was too much for us adults. But these kids?
And Doc and I were talking off air about how long did it even take you guys to do those events? I mean, to plan it.
It took our staff
a year, right?
Yeah, it took our staff for Washington. It took a year to do.
And this is what, 5 weeks?
Yeah, and it took us Jerusalem 6 months, and that almost broke our back.
Yeah.
It's a media story too. I mean, it's one of those things that you look at it and you say, we all know this. You really went through the details today of how it actually happened, but on the surface, it doesn't pass the smell test that these 17-year-olds would all of a sudden be able to plan this gigantic march. It's like if you leave your W-2 forms in your office and you walk in and your 5-year-old is sitting behind the desk and all your taxes are done. Well, you don't assume the 5-year-old did the taxes, and that is essentially what they're asking us to do.
I mean, if you look at just the podiums and the signs, I remember we got about a week out and we're like, oh, crap, podiums. Okay? You're a high school group. You're not remembering, hey, by the way, get the really nice plexiglass. Make sure that's printed and leveled just right. And by the way, I'm 16. I know exactly all the stage mechanics here.
Well, and not to mention, I mean, you have all of these kids screaming at the NRA, for putting a price tag on children. But they're being funded by all of these organizations who are putting a price tag on children.
Useful idiots.
I mean, I just don't get it. Okay, so speaking of all of this March for Our Lives, what did Rick Santorum say? He said...
Yeah, Rick Santorum had an issue. He's been getting a lot of heat because of what he said during a segment on CNN. Can we watch it?
Yeah.
Is this really all about politics, or is it all about keeping our schools safe? Because if it is about keeping our schools safe, then we have to have much broader discussion than the discussion that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. How about kids, instead of looking to someone else to solve their problem, do something about maybe taking CPR classes or trying to deal with situations that where there is a violent shooter that you can
How are they looking at other
respond
people?
to that.
I would ask you, they took action.
Yeah, they took action to ask someone to pass a law. They didn't take action to say, how do I, as an individual, deal with this problem? How am I going to do something about stopping bullying within my own community? What am I going to do to actually help respond to a shooter? What am I going to do? Those are the kinds of things where you can take it internally and say, here's how I'm going to deal with this. Here's how I'm going to help the situation, instead of going and protesting and saying, oh, someone else needs to pass a law to protect me.
Now, look. I'm not going to argue that Rick nailed that one. Okay, probably not. He probably would reword it if he could. Yeah. I mean, we know what he's trying to say. Everyone knows what he's trying to say. He's saying that it's not all about
the bleeding.
It's not always about government, though. Yeah. It's not always about passing a law and trying to get people to pass a law. Sometimes there's things that you can do that are more direct to an actual situation like that.
I mean, let's look at this metaphorically. How do you stop the bleeding? There's lots of things. Okay, what they're doing is, we've got to have an ambulance and a doctor right here. Well, wait a minute. That's going to be really hard to pull off. So are there steps that we should be taking that can I stop the bleeding? Can I do other things so if it happens, the thing they're going for will take, if everybody had the will to do it, it would still take a year to pull off a constitutional amendment if everybody in the country agreed.
And the answer, of course, is Van Camp's pork and beans. If you had a can of pork and beans in every classroom and just grab that can of pork and beans and throw it at somebody,
I'm going to have to disagree.
either a rock or the pork and
I'm going
beans.
to disagree.
Whichever.
Those cans are too big. You need the little tomato paste cans because it'll fit in the kid's hand.
Okay.
That's
Well, you
right.
get that for the kindergartners.
The kindergartners, right? The bigger ones. Yeah, you need the smooth
I love
rocks.
this. This is what happened in Pennsylvania. They said, let's put a bucket of rocks. I think they got it all out of the superintendent's head. And put that bucket of rocks in the closet. Okay, kids,
Wait a
everybody.
minute, don't shoot. We got to get the rock bucket out of the closet. Give us a second. Come on.
Well, not to mention expecting kids to open themselves up to not, hiding, but being out in the open enough to throw a rock, right?
I will tell you that the best thing that anybody can do if you don't have a gun, honestly,
Throw something at them.
throw something. Everybody, if everybody in this
They're
room,
gonna
if a
at least
shooter
flinch.
comes in here, if everybody just takes their equipment and throws it at them, we take
I'm throwing the broccoli.
and the cauliflower. You throw that at somebody,
was gonna eat
you have a
that.
chance, but the rest has to rush them.
Yeah. Right.
You can't just throw the rocks and then hope
then
that's
it's over.
it.
Well, there's plenty of things to throw around without putting a bucket of rocks in the school. This is Blue Mountain School District in Pennsylvania. And in their defense, this was not their A plan. Everybody kind of led with that, and it is funny. He's saying, if all else fails, we'll have them. But I don't think you need to have the rocks in there. There's books, there's heavy things, there's all kinds of things you could throw and do.
Staplers, anything.
Right. But what I think's going on here, I think we've figured out that it's big bucket and big rock. Who got together and said, hey, we can sell buckets of rocks. Every school district in America.
It's those pet rock people.
They're coming
They're
back.
coming back. I've got them in the warehouse, man. Take
Honey.
the eyes off them. We got it.
Honey, I'm back.
There was actually an update to this story, though. The superintendent came out and said...
This is actually kind of sad. Yeah, the school district is closed. They had to shut down. They said all the attention, and I don't know if they have a credible threat or not, but they're concerned about an attack. Or
Yeah, well, they
or
said, so they
murder.
said that they are concerned that something could happen because of the media attention, but he said, starting tomorrow and into the near future, we have arranged for additional armed security for our buildings.
Good.
Well, why wasn't that the
Do that
first
first.
thing that they did?
With what, rocks?
Well, right, that's a great question. But I mean, if he has the ability to start with armed security tomorrow, why would that not have been the first?
This goes
plan?
to what Santorum said. If you really want to solve it about the security, then we have to have a larger conversation.
Yeah, he didn't word it perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would take that back. But I mean, it's also that it's a media story there, too, I think. It's like, I found out about that story because of a CNN alert to every iPhone that has the CNN app on it, right? They actually sent out an alert saying that, obviously saying, like, this heartless bastard said this about CPR. But Rick Santorum isn't just some guy to CNN. He's a paid contributor. He's been on their air for hours and hours and dozens of hours talking about these points. They know he's not that guy.
You worked with those people.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Did they ever treat us like that?
It's just awful, right? Like, this is your guy. You bring on this guy to talk about conservative issues, and then you take him completely out of context, give him the worst treatment possible, and then blow it out to millions of iPhones? That is really rough.
I think they actually do believe that. I really do. I think they believe the worst in people.
You're right. I think they do too.
And we do too.
Why did they employ this guy then? What the hell are they doing?
He's the left's punching bag. He's the Bob Beckel that was for Fox. I mean, same thing. Just somebody to kind of beat up on the other side. But Rick Santorum has a great point. We've talked about this. Secure the schools. We can do this today. Every school district in America can slowly start putting in bulletproof glass in places, securing all the doors and metal detectors. Come up with a system. You're gonna make improvements.
Did everyone watch the coverage? Did anyone?
I didn't.
Okay. I noticed when I was watching it, speaking of the media bias and just kind of driving a narrative, that whenever they would be interviewing one of the children, they would only ask about arming teachers as an additional solution. They wouldn't ask about any of the other things. They only would ask about, the most controversial solution that people have proposed. So
And the only one about guns.
Well, right. Well, but I mean, they didn't say metal detectors or armed security guards or anything like that. It was just, do you think we should arm teachers? And they didn't offer up anything else.
Let me guess. Did they surprisingly say no to arming teachers? That would blow me away.
Yes, I was
You can't cure guns with more guns.
Yeah.
Let me ask the table this. I actually think that this is backfiring on them. I really do. I think they've picked the wrong event. Everybody knows that Parkland shooting, there were too many problems with that Parkland shooting. Completely preventable. So they picked
with
the wrong...
laws in place, it was preventable.
If you would have done this in Vegas, you may have had a case, but they did it with Parkland. They're now overexposing these kids. Everybody with a half a brain cell knows they're not behind this. This is big money behind this, big propaganda. I think they're wearing out their welcome with the purple people,
I don't know. I think you might be a little. We used to talk about this when we did radio. Of like, you'd be listening to Celine Dion, "My Heart Will Go On" for the 9 millionth time, and wonder how anyone could ever want to hear that song again. But in reality, the person in their car had only heard it 4 or 5 times, and they still loved it. They couldn't wait to go see Titanic in theaters. This is sort of that way. I feel like we're just getting to that point where we're uncovering a lot of these places and we're seeing really what's going on here. I don't think the average American people are there yet.
Yeah, it takes a lot to cut through. Yeah. I mean, people are not watching. They don't care anymore. They're just like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah. I also think, they talk about NRA money, like I said before, but they don't tie that to the fact that this money is coming from actual constituents who believe in the cause. It's almost like the NRA has this magic money fund that they get it falls from the sky, and they're just, as an organization, giving it, to kill children.
Mm-hmm. What a shill. How much are you getting from it?
I know. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. It's also interesting that the NRA has been so badly demonized. They're accused of owning every single politician.
Yep.
There's not one politician that the NRA owns that they would do anything the NRA... They don't spend that kind of money with politicians.
I will tell you, the reason why I joined the NRA is because at the beginning, I would go and speak for them or whatever, and I was allowed to be kind of in that group, and I would follow them in the hallway, in the elevators, and I was always in the back of the group, and I'd listen. I never heard them say anything out of line. I never heard them say, like, we got to get him, we got to get them. I heard them speak and heap praise on Democrats and Republicans. And the only thing I would ever hear from them is, how are they on the Second Amendment?
Did you hear them say that they want to kill children?
Oh, no. We participated in ritual sacrifices. No, other than that, no.
Okay. All right. We got to take a break. Stay with us.
That's a good point.
Hey, I wanted to ask you if you are a long-term watcher of this network to pray for Dana. She reached out last night, and she's, she is a tough cookie, and she's in danger. I think her family is in danger, and I would just ask that you would pray for her.
Well, it's difficult when you're
The
concerned about
CEO.
your families. Well, yeah, Dana
When you're
Loesch.
the CEO of the NRA, like Dana Loesch is.
But I mean, we
They
all
know her so well.
They know her well.
In the middle of this discussion, we're all concerned about protecting our families. I mean, that's the whole point. And that's the reason I want to tell you about the iTarget Pro system. See what I did there? See what I did that? That was good. The iTarget Pro system, you can get it at itargetpro.com. Works great. It is a system where you can target practice even in your home, your office, wherever you want, because you're not going to be shooting through the walls. It's actually just like that. But it comes with a little laser round that only fires a laser pulse. And they have a proprietary app that works with your cell phone, so you can see where those little pulses hit and get better and better. It's a place where you're likely going to want to defend your
It's a
family.
level 2 lookalike firearm.
This is
Very
violent.
close.
I don't know
Wow.
who's doing the gun thing, but it is violent, and I don't like it.
Stop it.
Find out more at itargetpro.system. You can also get 10% off with the promo code NEWS. That's itargetpro.com. Promo code NEWS. It retails for around $89. 10% off makes it about $80 with the promo code NEWS. itargetpro.com.
Doc, do you know if the rapper Vic Mensa used iTarget Pro?
I don't think so, but he is a gun or has been a gun possessor, even though he speechified and rapped at the March for Our Lives. So they chose a rapper, and he has a felony gun conviction from about a year ago. He was busted. They pulled him over. I think it was in California, and they found a gun, and he's like, "It's okay. I have a permit." And they're like, "Yeah, it's invalid, and it's from another state."
Yeah, but that was a year. How old were you a year ago?
I know, right?
Well, he learned his
remember
lesson.
that.
Is that what it is? Turned over a new leaf type
Turned over
thing?
a new leaf, yeah.
It's been a tough 12 months for him. He's figured it all out. So he's the one who stepped up on stage and started speechifying. Then I thought about it. If they were wanting a rapper without a gun conviction, that may be a narrow pool. So maybe that's
they
the
picked him
trouble.
knowing it, just knowing he only had one.
Oh, that's
They're like, this is the best we can do.
That's right. It was like,
awesome.
Well,
Kind
this
of in
is
there.
obviously what happens when high school kids get together and plan this big event in
Yes.
such a short time.
Oh, that's
Things
probably
fall
it.
through the cracks.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
must
they
be
don't.
it.
They don't have time.
Just imagine the phone calls. Hi, sir. We're doing a little stage thing. We'd like you to come. Man, all those people at all those big organizations, institutions, they picked that up and they were like, "Oh, William Morris Agency. Hold on, I'll get Bill on the phone right now."
I mean, they got Clooney on the phone and got that big
yeah.
Oprah. They just called him up.
Hello, Oprah. We were wondering.
It's David Hogg.
Your pre-teen voices.
Thank you.
Hot on.
Thank you. You make me uncomfortable looking at me because I got a big sit right over here and I don't want you to see it.
Don't worry about speakers, though. Jim's going to lend them to us. They're in his mom's garage.
This seems like a really good time to get into the signs.
Ah, yes.
Signs that were there
Signs
at the
were
march.
fantastic. I actually went looking for the worst signs, and I searched Google for the worst signs, and they gave me over and over again about 20 different sources that gave me the best signs, the best ones that were so inspiring and everything else. Had to dig for a while. Found a couple, though, that were really solid with the worst signs. Here's a few of them. This one is
One of my favorites.
John Wick only needed a pencil.
Well, that and
500
a lot of guns.
million firearms. Have you ever seen John
He
Wick?
must have killed 180 people.
I think he killed 1 or 2 or maybe 5 people with a pencil, but it was really like thousands he killed with guns.
Not just that, but you're saying that a pencil can kill too.
Right, so should we ban pencils?
That's not part of it.
Amazing. This one might be my favorite. It was harder to buy this poster board than an AR-15. Something is wrong.
No.
Like, for example, the point you're
person's
making
ever-
on the poster board.
Yeah.
That is wrong.
Yeah.
Here's another one, because they're big Second Amendment fans. But as Benny Johnson points out, this sign, I wish Obama had taken your guns. But there's big Second Amendment fans. They're totally on board with you.
It's not about the Second Amendment.
This one's great. The Second Amendment was written when I was deemed 3/5 of a person.
A college student.
Surely he knows that the 3/5 actually protected against slave ownership.
Well, not at George Mason. Why would anyone at George Mason?
Yeah, maybe.
Why would anyone at George Mason know that?
Also, he has aged very well.
yeah, there you go. Ban all automatic weapons.
Can I get these?
Yeah, sure, Doc.
Aren't they already Banned?
Yeah, they are. Pretty much.
34.
Okay,
Minor
34,
details.
even more in 1986. This one's really offensive, though. We call BS. It's a picture of Marco Rubio, Catholic in quotes, Catholic senator, and he has a. If you can't see, it's like a the
Sign of the cross.
Sign of the cross on his
Ash Wednesday.
On his, Ash Wednesday, and Ash Wednesday. They're calling it Ash Bloody Wednesday because they did it in blood, and calling him #kid killer. I mean,
We should do that with Planned Parenthood advocates like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah,
that's fair, right? Do the exact same thing.
I think that's
with
okay.
them.
Maybe Sabo is out there in L.A. right now making that poster up. I would not be surprised to see it. This one, let's ban guns like we ban boobs. Now, I don't know if we've banned boobs officially, but I think you're advocating for concealed carry there, right?
Right, exactly.
I want you to know, this is not an #MeToo thing, but we have to confiscate your boobs.
Sorry.
You will not take that from me. I will use my Second Amendment right to protect that. All right.
I saw one sign that said, let's face it, I mean, if pizza killed 30,000 people a year, I mean, maybe we shouldn't have pizza. Your thoughts, Glenn Beck?
Well, obesity kills way more than that, right?
I didn't know how pizza would kill 30,000 people a year.
B, it's not mentioned in the Constitution.
Yeah,
so
I
there's
don't have a
one
right
difference.
to pizza, and you take my pizza out of my cold dead hand.
I will say I saw Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and that pizza can kill lots of people.
You're right.
Okay, who watched the Stormy Daniels interview?
I did.
Okay, I did not because I did not want to vomit.
Okay.
So I was really torn. I didn't want to watch it. I watched it so you wouldn't have to. But we didn't end up even talking about it. I didn't think there was anything new there. I thought she was really taunting him. I believe her. But I think she was just taunting him like, oh, no, I wouldn't want to be with him. I didn't want to have sex with him. You know, he was like, Melania, she did. I mean, that's a lie.
Pat, what's your take?
I thought, like Glenn, it was devoid of anything new.
They had leaked too much of it.
Yeah, they did. Including the threat from somebody in Las Vegas 5 years after the event. But I think it was to goad Donald Trump into a response. I think that's part of the strategy here. And I don't know if it was effective for that. I was actually kind of surprised that it only happened once.
Yeah.
Because we'd kind of been led to believe it was an ongoing relationship, but it wasn't.
Part of me thinks that they actually want to goad Trump into suing them, so they can kind of go down that legal process and go through his emails and whatever else they could find. It just doesn't seem like it's. I mean, because look, I think it was an affair. I think that I totally believe her. I mean, it's there's a lot of reasons to believe her, but I mean,
already priced this in.
Yeah, I priced this in, and I priced Vegas-style threats of children into the Trump character a long time ago. So it wasn't that new for me.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come. Stay with us. It's depressing. Glenn, an amateur rocket maker launched himself.
Oh, no.
1,875 feet, reaching a speed of 350 miles per hour.
This is the first time he did it. Now he's got a Winnebago/rocket launcher.
Yes.
He's built his Winnebago into a rocket launcher. He can drive it around and launch it anywhere he wants.
Right.
He's never done it before. It's a steam-powered rocket launcher. He is a self-taught rocket scientist which you can, I guess, do on YouTube now.
Google.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And he launched himself because he's a flat earther. His next step, he's gotten 1,800 feet up into the air, came down pretty hard, but he was okay. He said his next is 63 to 65 miles. Because now he knows he's gone 1,800 feet, the next step, of course, is 65
The logical
miles.
next.
So he's only got 64 and a half miles to go.
Right.
And he's there.
And he's there. And so he's going to just rocket propel himself up there for take a couple of quick pics, because people want to know, is the Earth round or flat? And he believes it's flat.
That's a question that I have always wondered.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
not
believe-
been proven.
No.
I don't believe NASA or any of the other space, shots or anything. But the guy who steam launched himself up there, I'm going to believe his.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, every day, really quickly, we like to take your questions. So remember to be tweeting us using the hashtag #TheBlazeWhy. Okay, really quickly, I have one from Matthew that he wants to know, Taylor Swift announced she was for the March for Our Lives. Any thoughts?
I can't believe she got goaded into it. They wanted her to talk politics so badly.
I
She
know.
avoided it for so long, and then she finally
She
gave
fell
in.
into
I'm
the
not
trap.
buying one more of her songs, ever.
Wow, that's a
Which-
big stance.
So
never
that would
bought any.
I've never
equal,
bought any,
right?
but
Right.
You're that committed.
I'm
that
that
you'll
committed to
continue
my beliefs.
that
That's
stance.
exactly how I am.
All right, thanks
Powerful.
for tuning in, guys. We'll see you
Powerful.
tomorrow.
I was at the